Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In the last episode on History in Motion, we have discussed on how Ice Age cave pulsed with mystic beast. Shabbat land, road power, lush cox horses guided soul, orchards towered as fertility god. Shamans shape-shifted into bear and stags, birthing animals that shaped our brain, forged clan, and echoed through civilization. Animals did not just hunt myth, they evolved us from hunter to dreamers. History in motion brings the paleolithic roar of life. I've already discussed those in detail in my previous videos. If you have missed it, don't forget to watch it. I've put the link in the description box. Please feel free to check it out. And now, let's continue our today's topic. Just imagine a world where first humanity awakened, not in shining cities or royal palaces, but under Africa's burning sun, surrounded by roaring lions and endless open skies. And what if I told you that every tool you hold in your hand or see them, every story you tell or have heard from your elders, traces back to a humble stone chipped by a hand like yours over 3 million years ago? Welcome back to History in Motion, where we journey from Stone Age to the Silicon Age. Today we will uncover the ultimate birthplace of humanity, the African Stone Age. So buckle up. This is where we all begin, the actual birthplace of humanity. Now let's try to picture Africa during Stone Age time, with no skyscraper, no roads, no vehicle, just plain open land 3 million years ago. A vast pulsing continent of golden savanna, jagged rift valley, and mystic highlands. This wasn't just any landscape, it was a geographical furnace where the earth crust cracked open like a ripping fruit, which gave birth to one of the greatest, what we called as the Great Rift Valley, which began stretching from Ethiopia highland to Tanzania plains. Not to forget, but here, along with erupting volcanoes and shifting tectonic plates, evolution's greatest dramas was unfolding. Due to dramatic change in climate, lush forest turned into open grassland, forcing ancient primitive to adapt or perish. And when all these changes were taking place on Earth, a new creature came into the picture, the hominins, our distant ancestor, not quite ape, not yet human, the creature new creature. We came to know about this due to the scientific study of fossils from sites like Letoli in Tanzania and Harad in Ethiopia, which reveal their story and many yet to be unfolded. But don't worry, I am here to unfold the hidden mystery of our past. Subscribe now so that you don't miss any of the mystery, and press the bell icon so that you immediately get to know any mystic changes or unfolded in this channel. So now, the hominins weren't modern humans. They were trailblazers like Australopithecus afarensis, epitomized by famous Lucy, a 3.2 million year old skeleton which was found on November 24, 1974 in Hadar site in the Afar region of Ethiopia. Let's try and visualize Lucy. As per scientists, Lucy was 3 feet tall with a chimp-like face and human-like hip. Lucy walked upright on 2 legs, a revolutionary shift called bipedalism. But the question is, how come they came to know they can walk on 2 legs? If you have noticed, few other animals like monkey, chimpanzees, and kangaroo also can walk on 2 legs. In the same way, Lucy also walk on two legs. They freed their hands so that they can use their hands for carrying, scavenging, and crucially for tool making. It would be so fascinating and full of excitement when they would have learned they can walk on two legs and use other two as hands for different purposes. Imagine a child when it was born. They could not crawl and walk. And when it started growing, they started crawling, then walking, and finally running. Lucy was the first of the hominins who started walking on two legs, and then the evolution shifted. This African theatre set the stage for the Stone Age, dividing them into three acts. The Oldovin 2.6 to 1.7 million years ago. Then the Auckland 1.7 million to 200,000 years ago. And the later Stone Age, overlapping with our species' dawn. Africa wasn't just home, it was the forge where humanity was hammered into shape. Our tale opened in Tanzania Oldovin George, where Mark and Louis Leakey revealed humanity's deep beginning, ground that would come to be known as the cradle of humankind. In 1931, they unearthed first Oldovin tool, simple chopper and flakes, born from striking one stone against another like a prehistoric blacksmith. These weren't elegant, they were brutal necessities, crafted by Homo habilis, who were also known as the handyman, around 2.6 million years ago. Imagine an early family huddled together at sunrise, dust in the air, and acacia in their noses. A man with scarred hand strike a river stone against a large rock. The stone cracked, and with it came a new idea, a moment of understanding. They started making tools and used them to slice scavenged meat from wild beast carcasses, scared hide from shelter, and cracked bone for nutrition-rich marrow. Early humans were no longer passive gatherers. They became active shapers of their world. And this led to the beginning of Auckland era, where the game changed. Early humans evolved and were called Homo erectus, who were tall and striding, with brains twice Lucy's size, a sight like Consogradula in Ethiopia. We find hand axes, teardrop-shaped wanderers, symmetrical and sharp on both sides. These weren't just tools, they were the first step towards art. Now picture a small group on the shore of Lake Turkana about 1.5 million years ago. Waves roll in over dark volcanic rock as craftsmen sat on his brow, carefully chipping away at stone, shaping rough basalt into a balanced hand axe. With practice comes sharper thinking, learning to plan several steps ahead, a quiet leap towards language, strategy, and complex thought. They have cracked one of the most important aspects of conquering the planet much before we did, and that is learning from our failure. These axes butchered elephant, dug tubers, and even served as status symbols, traded across hundreds of miles. But Stone Age wasn't a single struggle. It moved to a social rhythm. At Bambo's cave in South Africa, dating back around 100,000 years, archaeologists find tiny shell beads and red or crayons, quite sign of decoration, ceremonies, and maybe even dancing beneath star-filled skies. Later, around 300,000 years ago, fully modern human appears at Jebel Irhoud in Morocco. Face that look like ours, through with heavy brows. Tools shrink into microlith, tiny razor-shaped blades fitted onto spears and arrows. Hunter-gatherer bands range along the edge of Kalahari Desert, shaping fish hook, from bones and bones from animal sinew. And there was fire. At Wonder Lake Cave, evidence shows fire was being used nearly a million years ago. From that moment, flame became our trusted companion, dividing away or driving away hyenas, warming cold night, and turning tough root into easy fuel for growing brains. Around 70,000 years ago, modern humans began spreading out of Africa, which changed everything. But the homeland itself stayed alive with invention and culture. In Nigeria, Nok Valley, remarkable terracotta figure from about 2500 years ago shows iron worker at their craft. The Stone Age tradition brushed up against early metal. It's a reminder that innovation did not happen in one place. Daily life wasn't just shaped by hunters and toolmakers. Women also played a significant and important part, so often missed from the headlines of history. Ground reed or for body paints, wave basket from reed, gathering roots and seed, and raising children. Their work provided most of the group's calories. Nearby kids play with toy axes, practicing the basics of survival long before they joined real hunt. These were the learning survival alphabets. Life wasn't always peaceful at that time. At Offnet Cave, skull injuries hint at violent clash, likely over precise water source. Yet cooperation usually won out. Shared campfire preserved today with the mixture bone of many animals. Tells a story of communal meals and long evening together. These weren't just dinner, they were bonds. Around those hearts, plans were made, stories were told, and trust was built. And now, it's time for the most important part of the session. Yes, it's time to chatter some myth and drop mind blenders. Myth 1. The Stone Age was primitive savage. But what's the truth? The truth is, old oven toolmaker matches chimpanzees in complexity, but outpaced them in innovation. Homo habilis brain hit 600 cc, plotting hunt like a real chess master. And here's the surprising fact. At Lomukwi 3 in Kenya, archaeologists uncovered stone flakes dated to 3.3 million years ago, made before our own geniuses ever appeared. And it raises a haunting question. Were our ancestor cousin the true pioneer of technology? Myth number 2. Stone Age folks were true loners, but the truth is they were not. In search of truth, we found genetic clue from South Africa which tells us a deeper story. Human interwove with Neanderthals' cousin and shadowy lost group, their DNA merging like streams into one shared river. And here's the surprising fact. Bamboo's cave 75,000-year-old hashtag like engraving are the world's oldest abstract art, proving symbolic through bloomed early. And here's a bonus for you. Nature lent its hand. Termite mold played a role when Homo erectus used them like nature oven. He'd sometimes bake the clay inside by accident, creating the earliest ceramic hundreds of thousands of years before anyone made pottery. And what about the killer ape idea? Walking upright does not bring a way to fight. It likely started so our ancestors could reach for food in trees. Widespread violence came much later as population grew. Africa's Stone Age wasn't savage. It was smart, flexible, and deeply adaptive. This African crucible did not just give us tools. It shaped who we are. Walking upright freed our hand which led to tools, which pushed our brain to grow. Over millions of years, thinking power surged. Hand axes taught planning. fire-fed neurons with cooked food, and around shared campfire, social bond is spread that sparked the earliest root of language, born from stories, laughter, and gossip. And the ripple effect is spread far beyond Africa. Backed by tools and symbolic culture, modern humans began moving out into the wild world around 60,000 years ago, thriving through innovation. Some of these Stone Age adaptations still live in us today. Our talent for long distance running traces back to the persistent hunt on open plains, where hunters simply outlasted antelopes until they collapsed. Even milk tolerance in many people arose later, as East African herders adopted to life with livestock. The deeper legacy of this era is something called cumulative culture, the Rachel effect, where each generation adds a little more knowledge to the last. That steady build-up carried us from stone tools to farming, from village to cities, and eventually to satellites and smartphones. Africa did not just host human evolution, it engineered the human operating system. And at last, from chipping the first stone in Oldowan dust to etching dream on cave wall, Africa's Stone Age wove the thread of humanity. It taught us to adapt, innovate, and connect. These lessons echoed in every heartbeat. We have journeyed from Lucy's Stride to Sapiens Park, proving our origins aren't myth, but fossilized fact. Thank you for watching History in Motion. Hit like if this ignites your inner explorer. Subscribe for more from Stone Age to Silicon Age and drop a comment. What's your favorite ancient tool? Next week, we will discuss on Stone Age Europe, Neanderthal cave and Ice Age life. So stay curious. Until then, keep questioning history.